Let's talk about the Golden Gooses back in action. Canelo Alvarez in against the young Jaime Munguia. What are you looking for in this one?
First thing you got to realize, number one, Alvarez is the Golden Goose. Alvarez brings the money, brings the pay-per-view. Alvarez gets his way. He gets to choose what he wants. He's that guy because he brings this, right? Dinero, mucho. So he picked Munguia. Munguia didn't pick him. That's all you need to know. He picked Munguia. And his people picked him for a reason. And I think they're right. Except there is one X factor, one possible fly in the ointment here to them being right. And Alvarez, winning this fight. And that's what I just talked about in the Diaz fight with Duarte. Old man time. That's the one thing. I think Alvarez is starting to show signs of slippage a little bit. He's still a top guy, but he's showing a little signs of slippage. Maybe he showed it when he wasn't up for the fight. Maybe that was it. He fought Ryder from England, and he didn't look great. And Ryder's a tough guy, and he maybe a couple years earlier, Ryder wouldn't have went the distance. But Ryder's a tough guy. He's a legitimate guy. But I still thought Alvarez should have done better with Ryder, handled him a little better. And either he showed slippage in that fight or he wasn't up for it. And that's possible. Where you're at this point in a career, you made so much money, you accomplished so much like Alvarez, Canelo has, where you can't get up for the fights that don't threaten you, that don't tease you in a way that they make you they make you feel like, oh wow, I'm this is one I got to be ready for. This is one I have to be on my P's and Q's. Sometimes when you've been in that many big fights and done the things that Canelo's done, that you fight down to your opposition. In your mind, the guy's an easier fight. You fight down to that. You don't get up for it. He's going to be up for the Munguia fight. That's obvious. He's fighting a Mexican fighter. It's going to be a great pride involved, even though he said he would never fight a Mexican fighter. But, hey, everyone's allowed to change their mind, right? Everyone's allowed. Canelo's allowed to change. Cinnamon, he's allowed to change his mind too, right? Everyone can. So he's fighting a Mexican fighter. There's a lot of pride involved. It's Cinco de Mayo. So the atmosphere is going to be there for Canelo. But Munguia, I think he will do well in this atmosphere. I don't think this atmosphere, sometimes it could melt you. I don't think it'll happen with Munguia. I think that the atmosphere will rise him too. I think that he will be ready for the challenge in front of him. The problem here is that Alvarez is still a good puncher and a good accurate puncher, more accurate than Munguia. Munguia throws a lot. I think he's improving. I think he's still a work in progress, which is really strange to say about a guy who's got about 43 fights, but I do. I think he's still a guy that's getting better, and I think he's a guy that still needs to get better, especially in the defensive end of the pool, where he still needs to become harder to hit. He's still sometimes just too available. And look, he's shown a great chin, great chin. But I've seen the greatest chins. And if you get hit by the right guy and you get hit often enough, sooner or later, there's no chin in the world that's going to stand up when you're getting caught by a good puncher clean. We saw it. I know it's a different mix of sports, but we saw Ngannou who got hit by an elbow. The UFC former champion who fought against Fury so well in Saudi Arabia. And he got hit by an elbow and he took it. Great chin. And then what happens? He gets in there with Joshua, who's a terrific puncher, right? Gets hit a right hand, out. So no matter how good your chin is, if you get hit by the right guy, and especially if you get hit of the right punch where you don't see it, it's delivered properly, anyone's chin can quickly turn from iron into tin foil. So I'm going to favor Canelo. I think Munguia's chance is that, again, if old man time shows up and Alvarez is diminished, hey, that's going to serve Munguia. Munguia has a high motor. His motor runs high, fast. He throws, he keeps pressure going, he keeps a rhythm going. He likes to get into a rhythm where, he's busy, he's outworking you, he's putting punches together better now than he was 4 or 5 fights ago. Again, I've seen that improvement in him. That motor is important. Where it gets in the way, where it gets him in trouble, is that a lot of those punches are in front of the guy where they can be a little wide, where there could be a little recklessness in the aggression, where he can get caught. And I think that's where Alvarez really has the advantage, where Canelo can catch him with something in between one of those wide shots. Maybe catch him with, everyone's thinking left hooks, right? Left hooks, Canelo's left hook to the body. He's a terrific body puncher. So is Munguia. Munguia, 2 Mexican fighters. Left hook is the traditional punch that we think about with the great Mexican fighters. As much as everyone's thinking left hook, I think the right hand of Alvarez could really come into play here, where Munguia's throwing one of those hooks in front, a little wide, and the straight right hand, just like with Amir Khan. But if you catch him clean, you're going to hurt a guy. Alvarez is a good puncher. Alvarez is a good counterpuncher. He's not as busy as he once was. That's part of him getting older. I think because of that and because of the motor of Munguia, is there a chance that Munguia can outwork him, out-hustle him, win a decision doing that? Yeah, if you want to go on the side of Munguia, that's why I go there. I would go because of that. But at the end of the day, I think that Canelo is going to be able to time him with more accurate punches. Not outwork him, but throw the more succinct, the more concise punches, the punches that count more, and land them, even though Munguia is going to have the higher volume of punches. I think that's going to work against him. I think that if he gets a little careless coming in, Alvarez will have a chance to catch him with, again, one of the shorter, technically more solid punches that I think Canelo throws that gives him an advantage of landing and hurting Munguia. I think Munguia's best chance, if I was training him, would be take it on the outside. Use your reach. You're a naturally bigger guy. You got a long reach. You got a good jab. Use your jab. Try to win the fight on the outside where you're not vulnerable to counterpunches, where you're not walking into counterpunches, where you're not doing some of Canelo's work for him by coming in and maybe being overly aggressive and having some recklessness with that aggression. And making yourself a target. Stay on the outside where you're less of a target and see if you could use your legs. You got decent legs and win the fight that way. And then in spots when you got to, take it to a more aggressive place, do it again. Do it behind the jab. Do it in a defensively responsible way. My pick is Alvarez, late round stoppage. He hurts Munguia with one of the punches I just described, maybe to the body with the left hook, maybe with the right hand in between a wide punch.